Hi, Waiter Dave here. On this video, I want to talk a little bit about why you don't see me with the stringer very often when I'm out wade fishing. And I actually have a lot of clients who want to keep fish, and as I tell them, you're welcome to keep fish. If, first of all, they're legal. That's probably the most important thing, and they have a license, of course. But I very rarely keep fish to begin with, but it's not necessarily because I don't like to eat fish. It's because I don't like to have a bunch of fish trailing behind me on a stringer that, very often are bleeding. And the obvious reason is that the areas that I fish, very often there's a lot of sharks around. And so I don't want to provide them with any incentive to get any closer to me than they might otherwise. But so typically what I tell people, hey, if you want to keep fish, feel free, but you're going to be carrying the stringer. If you do want to keep fish, what I'd suggest is that first of all, you have a very, very long stringer. I typically like to have at least 30 or 40 yards. I know that sounds like a lot, but I like to have a lot of stringer so that it's as far away from me as possible. I also tie it to my belt so that I get with a quick release knot or some sort of a carabiner or something like that, so that if I do happen to have a shark grab onto it, that I can just real quickly pull the knot and let the shark go with the fish, because that's what they want. They don't want anything to do with me. What they want is the fish. But so make sure you've got a long stringer. The other thing too is I try not to wade a long way away from an entry and exit point if I've got a stringer with me. So if I happen to get a fish or two on, I want to, more often than not, I want to get back to my cooler and put those fish in the cooler as soon as possible, and then maybe go out and get another couple of fish. The reality is these days, the limits, you can't keep typically more than 3 or 4 or 5 fish anyways, so you're not going to have a large stringer. And the other thing I do as well is that if I happen to be out fishing with more than one person, I'd suggest that you put all the fish on one stringer. That's just one target as opposed to 3 or 4 targets. And the way we usually do it is whoever caught the last fish gets to keep the stringer. Maybe a disincentive to be catching fish, but that's the way we typically do it. But the same rules apply. Make sure you have a long stringer, and make sure you empty that stringer as frequently as you can so you don't have any targets out there. The other thing too is if you do have a fish that you happen to catch and you've damaged the gills, or if they're bleeding a lot, those are the ones I would just let them go and not have them on the stringer, because it's really the blood that's attracting the sharks more often than not. So if you've got a fish that's really pretty mangled or a lot of blood, just let it go and let the shark eat it without having to eat any other fish on your stringer. But something I'd strongly recommend is to be careful if you happen to be trailing a stringer of fish.
Hey there, it's Joe Simons, one of the co-founders here at Salt Strong, and have you claimed your free pack of these irresistible Slam Shady paddle tail lures? We designed this lure with over 12,000 serious inshore anglers, including many full-time guides, to go out there and catch more redfish, more speckled trout, more snook, more flounder, more inshore saltwater slams. And if you want a free pack to try out a sample yourself, click down below right now. We have one free pack per angler while supplies last. Click down below right now.